Hi all, welcome to the AMV movie channel. This time, I will tell the storyline of a movie called Double Blind. This movie tells the story of volunteers in a pharmaceutical research. A woman and other test subjects turned out to be guinea pigs with tempting rewards, instead of the money they get, instead of the bad luck they get. They are forbidden to sleep so they don't die in that place. Slowly the situation gets worse because one by one the subjects die horribly. Because they fall asleep. What will they do and will they survive? We immediately discuss in the storyline of Double Blind. 2024. A white mouse is observed for research. Later, Claire, a young woman, enters Blackwood Pharmacy as a highly paid Phase 1 clinical trial volunteer. She meets Allison and Vanessa, her roommates. Although Allison is friendly, Claire wants to rest. As they prepare for bed, they hear an announcement to gather in the exam room. In the exam room, Claire met the other participants. They were told that this was the first stage safety study for Apex City BRN1. This double-blind trial lasted for 5 days with gradual dosing. After receiving the initial dose of the drug, they eat together. The nurse checked their blood pressure and symptoms, all of which were normal. While in the room, Claire felt nauseous. She immediately went to the toilet. There Claire met Amir, who also felt nauseous. Amir is a medical student. That night, Claire had a dream and woke up, not seeing Allison and Vanessa in the room. She found them in the living room, panicking because they couldn't sleep. In the morning, the nurse did a checkup and they all relaxed in the living room. Dr. Burke had a phone call with Blackwood's top brass to explain the results of the trial. Dr. Burke explained that the participants' entire immune systems had been damaged, but the higher-ups still wanted to continue the experiment. Some volunteers complained. Dr. Burke offers a bonus for those who survive until the end of the test. The volunteers are happy. But Claire and Amir are suspicious. By the next night, they still couldn't sleep. In the morning, Dr. Burke asks them not to sleep and gives Claire a tablet of medicine and orders a CT scan. Afterward, Claire sees the dead Allison. And the activated security alarm makes all the doors automatically close. The escape attempt ends tragically when Dr. Burke is trapped and killed. They are told that the situation will return to normal in 24 hours. Amir gives a brief explanation of the CT scan of their brains. That shows them not to fall asleep and the urgent need for medical assistance. After that, they all gathered in the living room and tried various ways to keep from getting sleepy. Paul recorded the situation and explained that they had another 20 hours before the lockdown ended. Ray also speaks on the recording, stating that they may have suffered malpractice, making all the money they made here meaningless. Meanwhile, Amir checks on Claire, but when he sees the results on the laptop, he is shocked and immediately turns off the screen to prevent Claire from seeing it. Claire then walked alone and felt very tired and sleepy. She struggled to stay awake, and eventually went to a laboratory room that contained many lab rats. There, she tried to release one of the mice, but it refused to come out of its cage and instead hid inside the wood chips of its cage. While the clock showed that there were only 16 hours and 30 minutes left in the lockdown, Ray ran out of salt and tried to ask Paul, Vanessa, and Marcus, but they refused. On the other hand, Amir continued to do research and find out how to overcome this situation. However, it turns out that it was just Amir's hallucination. Claire also has a hallucination about a sleep song that her mother sang to her, and she was a child. When Marcus calls her, Claire regains consciousness and Marcus says that they must remain optimistic. Claire then enters Dr. Burke's office to look for information. Vanessa deliberately burns her hand to ward off sleepiness. But when Claire sees it, Vanessa declares that she is not ready to die. Meanwhile, Marcus experiences a strange occurrence while in the bathroom, hearing the same whistling sound as his own voice. After the incident, Marcus becomes confused, and when he sees the exit door open, he approaches it and is suddenly in a dark place. Later, they found Marcus, who had died from sleep. Claire feels dizzy and hallucinates, then goes to the kitchen and burns her hands to drive away the sleepiness. After that, Claire discussed with her friends about finding a way out of the situation. Claire sketches the building and plans to destroy the wall to get out. But Amir reminds her that they might not be able to get out, because the building is designed to stop them. However, the others still want to try. They take turns trying to destroy the wall, but they fail when they find the iron hidden behind it. Claire then decides to ask Amir for advice on her next move. However, Ray is suspicious of Amir and finds amphetamine drugs in his belongings. Claire then meets Amir, who admits his mistake in activating the alarm and provides a letter of explanation. When the lights go out, Claire and Paul try to turn on the lights in MRS's room. They both go there, but Paul's cell phone battery runs out. Claire tries to find the switch and starts to hallucinate. After finding the switch, they turn it on and see Amir there. Vanessa also arrives and is suspicious of Amir. They ask if Amir has taken amphetamines, but Amir denies it. After tying up Amir, Ray claims that Amir turned off the power earlier and was working for Blackwood. However, Amir denies the accusation, stating that it was not him who turned off the power and that he does not work for Blackwood. Amir requests that they let him go, but no one believes him. Ray threatens to kill Amir if he doesn't admit that he works for Blackwood. Claire tries to stop Ray, but Ray pushes Claire down instead. Claire then reveals that Amir has an antidote, and Amir explains that he can at least give them time to prevent their deaths. Paul asks about Amir's idea, and Amir explains that the cure is methyl iodide solution and he can help them make it. Claire and Paul start making the formula solution. When Paul asked about the next step, Amir was silent with a blank look. Claire calls Amir and he explains the next step. On the other hand, Vanessa says that she has a tranquilizer and wants to give it to Amir. Back in the lab, they are almost done making the formula, but Amir explains that after the stroke out, they have to wait for 30 seconds before injecting the TPA, while the others are busy with injections. Vanessa tries to give Amir the sedative. Suddenly, there is a sound of falling, and Vanessa is shocked to see herself falling. Vanessa, who was having a seizure, unconsciously dropped the injection, and she died, as the formula they made falls and breaks. Amir laughs. Claire grabs a knife and threatens Amir, but Amir confidently says that Claire won't kill him because only he has the information they need. Claire exits the room and goes to see the remaining lockdown time. Claire began to hallucinate, seeing the time display change to read good night. She also hallucinates hearing a singing voice. After that, Claire reads the last message she sent to her mother. She starts to feel very tired and sleepy, but manages to try to stay conscious by dropping her cell phone as well as the salt. That helps her stay awake. Claire falls down and tries to grab the salt. Claire managed to retrieve the salt and regain consciousness. She finds a secret room behind the wall and meets up with Paul. They find a way out through the autopsy room. In the lab, Amir hallucinates seeing Dr. Burke, who continues to incite him. Amir sees a knife nearby and Ray finds Amir's letter to Dr. Burke. Back in the secret room, Paul explains that the room is used to send bodies. Claire is thrilled that this is their way out. However, Paul wants them to go alone. Amir reaches for the knife, and Ray arrives with Amir's letter. Amir screams for help, and Claire and Paul hear the scream. They immediately went to see Amir, but Paul chose to go down in the elevator. When there was 1 minute left in the lockdown, Amir tried to attack Claire. Claire managed to survive. They are both very weak, but as the remaining time of the lockdown ends, The exit door opens, Amir encounters several people with guns, and he is shot dead. Claire managed to disguise herself as a corpse and was rescued from the site. Eventually, Blackwood Pharmacy was cleared and Claire was put into intensive care in a coma. The company stated that the act was performed by Dr. Burke without their knowledge. Although they mourn the death of the victim, they will continue their vision of a better future in medicine. That was the double-blind storyline. To be able to feel the tension and the full story, you can watch the full movie. Next, there are still many horror and thriller movies that we will discuss. Finally, I say thank you for watching and see you in the next video.